Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another installment of Dear Deja. Alrighty, before we go any further, before I read the letter, you know what you gotta do. Go hit the like button. Before you do anything else, go hit the like button. I'll even give you a few minutes to a few seconds to do it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, go hit the like button. Right after you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and then you watch the video, you comment, and if it pertains to anybody or resonates with you regarding anyone else, share it for me. Thank you. Here we go. Dear Deja, I am a 24-year-old Fordham University grad. I recently started interning at a very prestigious law firm that I'm anxious to advance my career with. I get along with the staff very well, and I've been told my work performance is outstanding. There's an attorney at my job who took me under the wing immediately after I was hired for my internship. He's 8 years my senior, very educated and advanced in his field of law. Handsome and funny. Of course, one thing led to another, and we began a workplace fling. Prior to us getting started, he gave me a long spiel on how our workplace romance is going to go. Basically, he dictated how we would act at the offices, what days of the week we would be intimate, when we would be intimate at work or at home, how we would address one another when we were in the company of our colleagues, etc. I agreed because I like him. Our fling was going well until a round of new interns were hired. One of them is my ex, and to be honest, I still have feelings for him and vice versa. So lately, he's been bringing me flowers to work, we've been going to lunch together, and really just rebuilding our friendship. Mr. Attorney is not happy about that, which caused us to have some not so nice words regarding the situation. Basically, Mr. Attorney said if I want to have a future at this law firm, then I have to stay away from my ex. Mr. Attorney is not my man, but he holds the fate of my future in the palm of his hands. Meanwhile, my ex holds the promise of a romantic future and the keys to my heart. I don't know what to do. Please help. Sign, an incompetent intern. Alrighty. Let's close that laptop down. Let's take it from the top. As always, right? Let me congratulate you on being a Fordham University grad. That is a huge accomplishment. So, congratulations, my dear. You make us black girls proud with your black girl magic. Okay, so let me congratulate you on that. Also, let me double congratulate you on landing a wonderful internship at a very prestigious law firm, as you put it. That is a huge accomplishment, and I pray that no obstacles are put in your way and that you are able to continue on your journey successfully and continue making all us other black women proud with your black girl magic. So go on, girl. Right? Okay. So let's sit on down for the one-on-one session. Let's kick it, girlfriend. Let's kick it because, see, this letter pissed me off a little bit, but that pissed off, sorry about that, that piss off is a little personal, right? So I ain't really going to get on with it in my personal feelings because technically, Dear Deja letters are really supposed to look like me sitting in a one-on-one session with a person, and in one-on-one sessions, I'm not allowed to take your personal experiences and make them my own, right? So, here we go. Let's heal up, wheel up, bring it back, come rewind. Like I said, I would do what I just did if we were in a one-on-one session, which is congratulate you, because I always like to start off with celebrating folks, and that's what I did first because what you have done is a huge accomplishment. Then I will move over into who you are and what some of the issue is you're having. Okay. So it sounds as though you're a very smart young lady. It sounds as though you're a very smart young lady. It sounds as though you're a very ambitious young lady. So those two things work very well hand in hand. Those two things work very well hand in hand because ambition and intelligence is going to get you very far in the field that you've chosen. So, again, that's a beautiful thing. Continue to push forward. What I feel about workplace romances, right? I've had them. I've had them when I was younger, right around your age. I've had them. Fortunately for me, the person that I had him with was not my superior or supervisor. So he and I, he didn't control my fate when it came down to that company, which was thank you Jesus, right? So I didn't have that issue, but I definitely did have a workplace fling that sounds a little similar to yours. This is what I'm gonna say about. Hold on, you guys. Pookie is texting me. He know I'm doing Dear DJs. Okay. Anyway, I'm not gonna have what? No, it's a no for me. It's a no for me. Anyway, get somebody else to do it. Lost my train of thought. Let me take a sip. Let's talk about your choices. Let's talk about your choices because it sounds like, not it sounds like you said it in the letter, that you are looking for a future at this law firm, right? Which leads me to believe that naturally you were talking about your professional career. You know, you said that in the letter. The first thing I would talk to you about is boundaries, which, this comes up a lot in my Healing Heart sessions, but I guess they come up because a lot of folks do struggle with them. So I see that this is why I have to keep having this conversation. But what I love about having it is I'm having it in a different capacity every time I have it. Because this here is a little different than what I discussed before with folks and their boundaries, right? There's a difference between business and pleasure. I think as an intelligent young woman, you know that there's a difference between business and pleasure, right? And I think that from what it sounds like in your letter, you embarked on this journey because you're conducting business, right? I think you were clear when you decided to intern at that law firm that you were going there to conduct business because this is about your future, your professional future. Am I correct? I assume I am for what you said in the letter. So I will have to open up the floor to ask questions about your decision to make it personal. Now, granted, I want to say this. You're young. You're 24 years old. At 24 years old, that's the time you make mistakes. That's the time you make the bad decisions. That's the time you have the learning experiences. So am I at all saying that you shouldn't have made the choice that you made? I don't think it was in your best interest. But in any event, this is the age that you make the poor choices, right? Because you learn not to do that at 30 and 40 and 50 years old in the future. Because then you'll be too old for that shit. But right now, this is the time where you make the poor choices. What I want to say about those poor choices now, I want you to make sure you learn from them. I want you to make sure you learn from them because what I seen coming up was a lot of people made poor choices when we were young, but because they didn't learn from those poor choices, they continued in their later 20s, 30s, 40s, and now some folks in their 50s. Right? And you don't want to be the old woman still making poor choices over your life because we all don't know how much time we have. Right? So what I will say is what you made was a poor choice. What you made was a poor choice. Now, granted, I know some will argue, oh, he's 8 years your senior. He's 8 years your senior. He should have known better. He's taking advantage of a young girl. All of that's true. All of that is 100% true. If I was having general conversation in a general space, then I will offer that as an option as well. But in Healing Heart sessions, I'm not allowed to discuss what other folks are doing and what they need to change and where their faults are because they're not the person coming for the session. You are. And what I've learned about people that most of us don't want to admit, but we're all guilty of it, including self, and I pray over it every day, is we don't want to take responsibility and accountability. So anywhere that we can find a crack and a loophole where something can be someone else's fault, or we're going to pin it on them every time because having to do some introspective work and some self-work and look at the part you played is more hurtful than just being able to say, it's Larry's fault my life is like this. You know what I'm saying? And for me, Operation Heal 100 Hearts is all about the self-work. It's all about the self-work. So it's all about who you are, what you do, Does it make you better? And if not, how can you change? When can you change? And are you willing to change? Right? That is all Operation Heal 100 Hearts is about. And that's all me responding to this letter is going to be about. Like I said, I'm going to preface it by saying, do I think he should have known better? Yes. Do I think that he's taking advantage of the situation? Yes. Do I think that he's too old for what he's doing, knowing he's 8 years your senior and manipulating you and trying to hold you back because of his own personal feelings towards you? 100%. I'm also saying you are a willing participant in all of what this gentleman is proceeding to do at the moment. Because what you said in the letter was you both embarked on a workplace fling. Now, in any event, I know another piece where young people will say, well, oh, I really did that because, he's in a higher position than me, and I felt like if I didn't, entertain him with him liking me and so on and so forth, then I probably would have lost my internship. Well, in the end, you don't want to do what he wants you to do, so you're probably going to lose your internship anyway. This is just the reality of the situation, right? But I'm going to say what I started off saying, which is valuable to your internship. You are smart and you are ambitious. You think you got that? Did you get that internship only because you were dealing with him? No. Did everybody else recognize how excellent of a worker you are because you were sleeping with him? No. That will happen because you are smart and you are ambitious. So if losing this internship is what is going to take place as a result of him being malicious towards you because he has personal feelings, I want you, my dear, to accept that, knowing that you are smart and you are ambitious. So if you lose one opportunity, plenty more will still come. Plenty more will still come. You don't have to hang your hat on this one. Right? And I know that's easier said than done because people will say, oh, but I really wanted this internship. It would have took me here by this age and I would have been Michelle Obama by the time I left here. You can still be Michelle Obama. You can be Oprah Winfrey. You can be Khadijah. You can be anybody you choose to be as long as you continue to push forward and remain who you are, smart and ambitious. So having this man try to put his foot on your neck and hold you back is no hindrance to you. Okay? But let's go back to the poor choices. The poor choice you've made and how we're going to work through what brought you to that decision, right? Because I think a little part of you is just as I'm going to use the word crafty, no offense, but I think a part of you has that trait in you as well. Because I also feel like he knew better and he knew you were 8 years his junior and he knew that he could take advantage of the situation. But I think you also knew he was 8 years your senior and you knew that you could advance in this company had you embarked on a situation that could make things a little better for you because he is a good lawyer in his field and that's what you're aspiring to. So it might be a good look to get some things from him since you're fucking him. And yeah. So I think fair exchange ain't no robbery. I think fair exchange is not a robbery. I don't think you went into it blinded thinking that, he's just the mailroom guy that I like so much, so I'm just going to date him. No. I think a part of who he is also a part of some of the reasons why you did embark on a workplace fling with him, which was a poor choice, sweetie. Which was a poor choice. Poor choices do not make us bad people. Let me reiterate that because people really struggle with that, right? Poor choices do not make us bad people. Okay? Let me say it one more time for the folks in the back who didn't hear me. Poor choices do not make us bad people. Right? In my personal opinion, what makes you good or bad is how you utilize what you've learned from your poor decision making. Right? So if you are in a position where you went into that dealing with this man because who he was at this company and what you possibly could gain from that was a poor choice at 24. If that ruins your work relationship and your internship falls by the wayside and you lose your opportunity there, I pray that you take that poor choice you made and you learn from it. And moving forward, when you're 30 years old and you're at your new law firm and there may be some folks that are a little higher up on the ladder than you, that you don't approach it with the same mindset that you did your old situation because you learned from what happened before. Okay? So I just want to make sure I'm being clear and concise and making sense with what I just said. Basically, the ghetto. Basically, what I'm saying is that we all make poor decisions at any age in our life. Let me not just act like this is only suitable advice for a 24-year-old. We all make poor decisions at any age in our life. It's how you learn and what you learn from that decision and how you utilize it moving forward that determines if you're a good person or if you're a good person, right? And granted, some people up their whole life. Some people continuously make the same mistakes, get the same results, and those are some of the people that I see live in agony and misery because they fucked up their whole life by continuing to make poor choices, right? And I always want to work with people because poor decision making comes from something. You don't just wake up and say, let me do the worst thing I can in the world, right, to myself, and then be sad about it. No. Poor decision making comes from most times the trauma that you have had in your life, right? Especially in your past, especially from growing up. So like say case in point, I know sometimes that I can be a self-sabotager, right? I can be a self-sabotager. The reason why I was that way when I connected it back to my trauma, it came from me not feeling like I was good enough. So anytime I was in a situation where I could have everything I wanted, my heart's desire, if I just took the red pill, I made sure I took the blue one. And then I sat around and boo-hooed and cried about how my life turned out after I took the blue pill when I knew that grabbing the red pill would be everything that my heart desired. But I felt like and I believed and I was conditioned in my mind to know that I didn't deserve to have all of those things. So why would I reach for them? And because of that, I didn't. You see what I mean? So I feel like you made the decision to date that gentleman because some part of you has some unresolved trauma. And because you know you're smart and you know you're ambitious, so whether you dated that guy or not, you would still be able to get up in that company. What was the reason of dating him? Because it didn't look good on any aspect of it, right? You know, he was old. He was established at the firm. He held a position that could possibly jeopardize yours. You know, you didn't know if y'all was gonna fall in love and get married and so on and so forth. So even taking a chance like that, it wasn't the best decision because the outcome could sabotage what you truly want, which is to grow with that law firm. And now that's being jeopardized because of the poor choice that you made. Right? So we need to get down to the root of why are you making the poor choices? What does that come from? And how moving forward not to do that. And I think that that's 90% of my Healing Hearts participants' work and also my own. And also my own because I can be a person also who can make poor decisions and then sit around and say, oh my God, well, how did this happen? Oh my God, well, what am I supposed to do? And when I'm looking back at what is taking place, I'm like, you knew what you were supposed to do. You had the formula, you had the blueprint. You went in the opposite direction. Why? What is that connected to? So if me and you were sitting down for Operation Heal 100 Heart session, I would be asking you, where did the influence to deal with this gentleman come from? Because it sounds as though you're an attractive young lady, you're smart and you're ambitious, so you could have dealt with anybody out in the street and went to work and never had personal relationships. You decided to have it at work, which was a poor decision. And I would have to work with you and work backwards to see what happened in your past that would lead you to poor decision making as such. Now, granted, again, I'm not going to sit up here and act like you're the worst person in the world, sweetie. You are 24 years old. Your 20s is for you to make the mistakes. That's the way life goes, okay? Your 20s is when you make the mistakes. From what I heard, your 20s is when you make the mistakes. Your 30s is where you learn from them. And your 40s is where you apply the lessons, right? I'm inclined to believe that. Because now at 41 years old, there are so many good decisions that I've learned to just make as opposed to allowing my trauma to stop me from making good decisions and lead me in a direction of making poor ones, where I couldn't navigate that at 24 years old. So granted, my dear, so to speak, you get a pass. You get a pass because another part of this is a learning lesson. Is a learning lesson. You would not have been able to learn the lesson without growing through this. You know, so whatever is the outcome of this, it will be a lesson to you, and hopefully you can apply that lesson moving forward as opposed to continuing with the same poor decision making. Okay? So that's how I feel about you going to date that gentleman. That don't take the onus off of what he's doing. But right now, this Healing Heart session is not about him. It's about you. All right, now let's get on over to Loverboy, right? Let's get on over to Loverboy, who you said is your ex, but you want to rekindle and yada, 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 yada. I think you need to be clear on your intentions with both men. I think you need to be clear on your intentions with both men. I think you need to be clear on your intentions with both men. So, if there is a real, genuine liking for the older gentleman and vice versa, and you want to explore that, then you need to leave your ex alone. If there is a real, genuine fondness and liking for your ex and wanting to have a future with him from what you shared in the letter, then you have to leave your colleague alone. And granted, leaving your colleague alone can result in things that you didn't want to happen professionally, but you jeopardized your professional career when you started dating that man in the first place. That was your poor decision making. You don't want to continue to make poor decisions and it leads you down a rabbit hole of unfortunate results. Right? So you have to be very clear on your intentions with these men. Now, let me also say this, which is the catch to all of this. You may want to say, look, I'm young. These niggas don't run me. I run these niggas. And I want to deal with both of them. What they going to do? Okay. Again, remember, everything comes with a payment, okay? And either you're going to pay on the front end or you're going to pay on the back end. Now, if you can pimp both these niggas and get what you want professionally and personally, more power to you, sister. More power to you. I would never hate on you for that. But you got to make sure that whatever is the end result of the choice that you made, that you are ultimately going to be okay with that. Right? Don't be going around, woe is me, blaming the end of your career on the old head that you was working under that was trying to ruin you, or your ex who came back around and ruined what you had with your old. No. Because you are a willing participant in both of these situations. So now, my dear, it's time for you to make a clear decision and go in with clear intentions on what it is you want to do. I can't tell you which man to choose. That's not my job. That's not my place, especially because I don't know these men personally. I only know what you're telling me. Also, I don't live your life. I don't have to live your life. You do. So I'm just giving you some options to choose from. And what the hardest thing what is the most common thing that people do that Operation Heal 100 Hearts assists with as well is that a lot of times people choose from their trauma. People are making choices from their old traumatic space because they're still living in it. So a lot of times people will make poor decisions because of things that happened to them when they were younger, because of things that happened to them in their last relationship, because what their parents did or did not do, because what they've been through in friendships, because what they've been through in their life publicly, professionally, personally. So therefore they're traumatized about that, and every decision moving forward is a reflection of that trauma. You cannot work from a space of trauma. I'm sorry. Because trauma is pain, pain is hurt, and hurt people hurt people. You cannot work from a space of pain and hurt. You will not be good to yourself or anybody else. So, Buki, I think we got some self-work to do. I think we got some digging deep to do to figure out, who you are and, what you've grown through, how is that showing up in your life now? And is it showing up in a good way or a bad way? Is it influencing your decisions in a good way or a bad way? If it's a bad way, how can we move from that space to the positive space? And if it's a good way, and if it's in a good way, can you stand on those good decisions and make them effectively? But, my dear, this is not the older gentleman's problem. This is not your ex problem. This is not the law firm problem. This is not Fordham University problem. This is your situation, and you have the opportunity right here to navigate it properly. Okay? But remember, everything that takes place after you make your choice and decision is going to be on you because of the choice and decision that you made. Make sure you're making the right one. All right, girlfriend. That would be step one of what Operation Heal 100 Hearts one-on-one session would look like from what you just expressed to me to your letter. I hope I was able to help. I hope I was able to help to some degree. I tell everybody, you guys, get back to me. Let me know your feedback. Talk to me about the advice that I gave in this letter. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you are here watching the feedback of some of these letters, because a friend of mine had hit me the other day and she had some feedback on one of my letters. Listen, feel free to drop down in the comments and share, because other people may be feeling the way that you feel, and you guys can kind of have some dialogue about it. You and I can have some dialogue about it. It can start off some dialogue for a next live video where we can open up the floor to have real discussion. This is all an option, but I won't know if it's all stuck in your head and in your heart and your mind and you have not shared it with me. Right? So if you have feedback about any of these letters and you want to also offer to the person that's writing in, listen, I know that Khadijah told you X, Y, and Z, but here's another option that might be suitable for you. Just throwing it out there. Let me know what you think, right? Because whether people hit back or not and say if they follow the advice, they are listening and they are watching. I know that to be true. Okay, so thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for writing the letters. Thank you also for listening to the responses and giving feedback. I really and truly appreciate it. Once again, if you have some more information about your situation, if you wrote in the Dear DJ letter and I gave you some feedback and you want to let me know if it did or didn't work for you, please write me another letter, DM me, do something to let me know if this is working for you guys. If this resonates with you, anything that I share in these Dear DJ letters, let me know. Leave it in the comments. DM me. Talk to me. If you want to write your own Dear DJ letters, it's at Operation Heal 100 Hearts with an S at gmail.com. You can email your letters. Okay? Make sure you go like, comment, share, subscribe. I really, really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like I said, I have an influx of Dear DJ letters, so it's going to be so much more to come. I appreciate you guys, and stay tuned.